Like any business, Rotary delivers a product, and our product is the club experience. If it's good, people will stay and they'll bring in more members. But if the club experience doesn't deliver, people will leave. Individuals leave clubs in which they don't feel comfortable. Last year, we brought in approximately 167,000 members, but during that same period, we lost 164,000. We grew worldwide by approximately 3,500 members, the first time our membership has grown in 6 years. Rotary loses 10% of new members within the first year of joining. Last year, Tom, that was 19,000 Rotarians. Why? Because we didn't deliver the club experience we promised. I believe experience is driven by culture. The club experience is driven by culture. Let's change our club's culture by listening to our members and delivering the product they want. Now, when I say popular culture, what do you think of, Tom? When I say corporate culture, what do you all think of, Governor-elects? When I say Rotary Club culture, what do you think about? A club's culture is a powerful force. It's the unwritten rule book that determines the way we do things. It's the behaviors and attitudes of your members and reflects your club's values and beliefs. Now, culture is created intentionally, and it has to be actively maintained by all your club members. Your club's culture can give your club a sense of purpose. The better your culture, the greater the potential for your club to positively impact the community, the world, and your Rotary Club members. Now, Tom, you already know this. If things are going smoothly, there's growth and diversity, foundation giving is healthy, there's activity in all 5 areas of service, grant applications are being submitted and improved, and on and on and on. Your club's culture is a source of strength. It's rather irresistible. However, if there has been a decline in one or more of those areas, the culture may need to change. Change is often met with resistance, and it can be hard to implement. So if it's so hard to change a club's culture, why would we want to do that? Because a Rotary Club culture is the #1 reason people leave Rotary. Tom, what do we do about that?
Well, those are good points, Stephanie. And we need to know what our members want. We need to determine what club experience they want. You know, the best way to figure out what your club members want is to simply ask them. Get to know the new members. When they first join, find out what their interests are. You know, find out what skills and expertise they actually want to give to their club. Then, after the first year, check in with all of them. See how they're feeling. See if they're experiencing everything they want to experience. Ask them if they want to do something differently. Ask them if they want to give different services to the club. There's all kinds of things to ask them, but the important thing is to ask them. Yeah. Now, you can use the member interest survey or the member satisfaction survey. Rotary has 6 different kinds of assessment tools, and they're easy to find. The good thing is you could customize these surveys to make them fit for your club. Now, most importantly, after you do the survey, we need to act on those. We need to listen to what our members say, but if we listen and don't do anything, they're not going to feel valued. So to make them feel valued, what we need to do is we need to implement the suggested changes if it makes sense. So when we conduct polls, typically about 5% of the respondents say they're dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. But when we drill down and ask them what they're dissatisfied about, it's usually something simple to fix, such as the meeting time. So if you have a club of 40 members and 8 of them want to meet at noon instead of breakfast, go ahead and make that change. That flexibility will help your members feel like they're being listened to, and they will stay. Now, if members do leave, we should talk to them, and we should do an exit interview and find out why they left. So, Stephanie, what do we do after we do the club assessment?
Well, after we do the club assessment, we're going to find out one of two things. And we're going to respond in the same way that we react to other fight or flight situations. We notice a problem, and we may experience a sense of mild alarm, mild panic, or mild fear if we find out that the culture is maybe not so hot. And then we say, what happens if we keep on this path? What will happen to my club? What's going to happen if my club goes away? So that moment when we become aware that our club is not at its best is what we call the freeze. Freeze means we notice a problem, and then we have to decide how are we going to deal with it. Which is a better choice? Do we stay and fight to institute change in the club, or do we flee to escape the current club? The action that you take is a product of deliberate thinking. So we have to ask a critical question, and Tom and I ask this all the time. Are there enough influencers in the club to move the needle? We call them spark plugs. When you have others in the club who are as committed to a culture shift as you are, you have a good chance of having your ideas take hold. If you try to transform the club culture and you're the only member interested in doing that, that's a recipe for failure. Mm-hmm. Now Tom's going to tell us more about how to know when it is time to move on.
Well, if an existing club is resistant to change, there's still hope. We learned about hope this morning.
Yep.
You can start a new club. You know, sometimes it's said that it's easier to give birth than to raise the dead. Now, I personally haven't done either one of those. But what I have done is I've helped people start clubs. So when we started a new club, we have to ask, Jesse Harmon always says, ask why. Why? Mm-hmm. Because new clubs really work. You know, we started the network for empowering women. We added 50 members at one time to our club, to our district. It would take a long time to add 50 individual members to a club. The new clubs also retain members longer, especially if it's a cause-based club, where all the members engage around a particular issue that they are passionate about. When we started the first ever club in the world to serve veterans, some of those members drive 2.5 hours and more to come to the socials and the club get-togethers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And new clubs also attract younger and more diverse members. You know, my generation was told to go out and serve the community. And that's what I do in my local Rotary Club. We do all kinds of service projects, from cleaning up trash along the highway, to raking up leaves for people who can't do it themselves, to making food. Of course, we wash our hands after we pick up the trash before we make the food. But we love those things because we're doing it with our friends, and we're taking pride in doing a job well. But millennials think of things differently. What they want to do is they want to have a great impact in one area, such as the environment. So these new and innovative clubs could go out and reach those potential individuals where they are and give them a club experience that they want, which would include being diverse and inclusive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, new clubs reach out into the community. You know, when we started the first club to end human trafficking, 2 weeks after that, we had an induction of an individual. About 20 minutes after the induction, I received a call from the then sitting RI president, Mark Daniel Maloney, and he let me know that that was his sister that we just inducted. And he told us that he'd been trying to get a sister into Rotary for 40 years, 40. We just didn't have a club that met when she could meet and had the interest that she wanted to work on.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Lastly, Stephanie, these new clubs, they increase partnership opportunities. We worked with the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group to form a Rotaract club that would be for the environment. We also worked with a nonprofit to come up with a group that would serve those with autism and their families. You see, these clubs aren't just Rotary clubs, they're also Rotaract clubs. So if you want to increase membership in your district, and I know you do, what you need to do is you need to start these clubs and you need to nurture them. And you also need to look at your current clubs and make sure that their culture is inclusive and welcoming.
So, governors-elect, we need your help. We need you to make sure that you get the message out to your clubs. We want them to remain, if they are, or become simply irresistible.